Imagine a day when the sky no longer feels like the limit. A day when the world you have always known, the reality you have taken for granted, is interrupted by beings whose intelligence surpasses anything humanity has ever encountered. Not by a small margin, but by a scale so vast it is as if an ant were trying to understand the mind of a human. This is the scenario predicted by mystics like Vanga and Athos Salomé, fueled by the countless stories of near-death experiences, hypnotic regressions, and alleged abductions. And though there is no empirical evidence, the speculation alone is enough to challenge the foundation of our civilization. In this imagined moment of first contact, everything we consider immutable, the structure of our governments, the framework of our religions, the very way we perceive time, space, and life itself, would begin to shift. It is not hard to imagine the awe, the fear, and the confusion that would sweep across the globe. For some, it would feel like a divine revelation. For others, a terrifying confirmation that the universe is far larger and stranger than we have ever dared to imagine. Religions, centuries in the making, built on the human understanding of morality, divinity, and purpose, would face a profound dilemma. What if these beings, these hyper-intelligent entities, possess knowledge of the universe so complete that our sacred texts suddenly seem limited? Perhaps they would reveal the mechanics behind creation itself, the logic underlying the existence of matter, energy, and consciousness. Would humanity see this as the second coming, as foretold in scriptures, or would our interpretations evolve entirely? The possibility that miracles might now be explained by a level of intelligence beyond our own would force faiths to confront the balance between spiritual belief and observable truth. Governments, the stewards of human order and power, would not be immune to the shock. In the days of first revelation, the military-industrial complex might scramble to understand, to defend, to replicate. Yet intelligence so advanced could render our strategies almost laughably primitive. Decisions once thought critical could seem trivial, bureaucracy meaningless, politics a shadow play in comparison to the clarity and logic of these visitors. Perhaps in time, our leaders would adopt their reasoning, their understanding of efficiency and fairness, learning to govern not by fear or control, but by logic that spans dimensions beyond our comprehension. Consider how individual lives might change. The stories from NDEs, from hypnotic regression and abduction accounts, often describe profound shifts in perception. People report seeing reality as interconnected, understanding consciousness as fluid and boundless. If humanity were exposed to entities with true hyperintelligence, these insights could become universal. Schools might teach concepts once reserved for esoteric philosophy. Medicine, energy, and technology could advance at exponential rates. Illnesses might be understood at a molecular or quantum level, far beyond our current science. Poverty, war, and conflict could be approached with solutions rooted in logic so comprehensive the obstacles of human emotion and limitation might dissolve. Perhaps morality itself would evolve, guided less by instinct, superstition, or tradition, and more by a deep comprehension of universal consequence. Yet the psychological implications cannot be understated. For centuries, humans have viewed themselves as the pinnacle of intelligence, as the center of creation. The introduction of beings incomprehensibly more advanced could shatter our egos, our sense of identity. Fear and awe could coexist. Some would resist, clinging to old ideologies and forms of power. Others would embrace the new reality, seeking to harmonize with this superior knowledge. Perhaps there would be a global renaissance of understanding, a flowering of human potential previously unimagined. Or perhaps chaos, division, and despair could take root before we learn to integrate such a revelation. Speculation about these beings also invites reflection on the nature of consciousness itself. NDEs frequently describe encounters with intelligence or love that is infinite, that seems to exist outside the limitations of time and form. Abduction accounts, despite their controversies, often detail experiences in which humans are taught, sometimes unwillingly, to perceive reality differently, to understand the vastness and complexity of the universe. What if the formal introduction of hyper-intelligent entities were humanity's next step in a long chain of consciousness evolution? What if these experiences we consider mystical, spiritual, or frightening are preparatory glimpses of a larger truth we have yet to integrate fully. And still, there is the question of purpose. Would these beings arrive with instruction, guidance, or simply observation? Would they allow humanity to evolve on its own, nudging us subtly, or would they intervene directly, reshaping civilization according to their logic? The implications are staggering. Our legal systems, our methods of education, our approach to ethics, everything might be redefined not by centuries of human tradition, but by the insights of minds that perceive patterns we cannot even detect. Perhaps in such a reality, the distinction between science and spirituality would blur entirely. What we now categorize as miraculous, as divine, as unknowable, could become a field of knowledge and practice. Technology might merge seamlessly with consciousness. Humans might learn to manipulate the very fabric of existence, not through tools alone, but through understanding, perception, and alignment with universal principles. The limits of our imagination would expand daily, reshaping art, music, philosophy, and relationships. In contemplating this speculative future, one must also recognize the subtle, profound impact on identity. If intelligence beyond ours is accessible, would humans begin to adopt new modes of thought? Would logic, clarity, and comprehension become aspirational traits, guiding individual and societal evolution? Could the ethical, moral, and philosophical frameworks of humanity converge with the reasoning of these hyper-intelligent entities, creating a civilization where understanding surpasses conflict and curiosity transcends fear? Finally, one must consider the symbolic resonance. For those who interpret Scripture through the lens of prophecy, could this encounter be the second coming, a literal or metaphorical revelation that brings clarity, enlightenment, and accountability? The similarities are striking, an event that transforms consciousness, challenges existing authority, and offers access to knowledge previously deemed divine. Yet unlike traditional prophecy, this manifestation could be tangible, observable, and interactive, forcing humanity to integrate the experience into daily life, not just faith. In the end, speculation alone cannot predict the exact unfolding of such an event, but we can imagine the possibilities. A world transformed by the revelation of intelligence so vast it dwarfs our own, where society, religion, and government must adapt, evolve, and expand in ways we cannot yet conceive. We are at a point in history where observation and imagination meet, where the stories of near-death experiences, hypnotic regressions, abductions, and mystic predictions converge to challenge our perception of reality. And whether this first contact will occur tomorrow, in 5 years, or in another century, the mere possibility invites reflection, awe, and preparation. Because when these hyper-intelligent beings arrive, humanity will no longer be alone in understanding the universe. And in that moment, everything we think we know about ourselves, about God, about the cosmos, may change forever. Thank you again for watching. Be sure to like and subscribe as this helps this channel grow. See you in the next video.